Hey everybody, my name is William. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we're going to be back in the Cirrus SR22, taking it from Turn Island all the way to Lihu. It's getting a little bit too much like Castaway here, so we got to get it back to Hawaii. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get kind of into the planning and then get on with our flight. I hope you all enjoy. Alright everyone, so taking a look here at the FSEconomy page, you can see we're already in the My Flight page. We have two jobs on board going from Turn Island, Hawaii, and we're going to be splitting these up basically. So we're going to fly to Lihu, Hawaii first, which is this one passenger, paying us a cool $1,000. We should probably charge more in all honesty, but that's what they're willing to pay us and we'll take it. So, and then we're also going to be carrying another passenger, but we don't have to necessarily deliver them obviously in the same trip. We can carry them and kind of do another hop later on down the line. They're paying us really good money because we picked them up all the way back at Sand Island. So with this, our flight is pretty much planned and ready to go. But you can see here our aircraft just has 23 gallons in it, and we got 400 miles basically in front of us. So I can go ahead and make this flight on less than full fuel, but realistically with the payload we have on board, we can still go with full tanks, and I just feel better about that. So we're going to refuel, and we can go from the local FBO here. They are quite a bit cheaper. You can see the price per gallon, and they have plenty of fuel available, so it's quite a bit cheaper. Going to save a decent amount of cash doing that, and we can fill it straight up to 80 gallons and refuel our aircraft. And you can see full tanks on board for our aircraft. Just taking a look real quick at the plan. So this is where we're departing from. We're going to be going straight to this first fix here, Cannon, on the Victor 15 airway, flying over and then all the way down to South Kauai VOR, and then directly up to Lihu. So pretty straightforward on the flight plan, and not a whole lot to see. Obviously a whole lot of ocean, but that'll kind of snake us right between these two islands and get us on a good course basically all the way to Lihu. So simple flight plan today, not too exciting, but really excited to get this thing finally to Hawaii. So that's the basic planning of it. Let's go ahead and get into the flight. Alright everybody, it is time to get off of this tiny little island, get the airplane back to Hawaii. So let's go ahead and get on with it. You can see our FSEconomy client is open here. We could see aircraft type, and it is available at Turn Island. So let's go ahead and go to Flight, Actions, and Start Flight. Okay, so we could see we got both of our passengers loaded up, which is good because I am not going to come back for them, and our flight is underway. So we could go ahead and kind of hide the client, get it out of the way, and get on with getting the aircraft started up. So first things first, just double check. We do have full tanks, which is good. We refueled it on the client side, and it is represented there. We'll go ahead and open up the fuel valve to the right tank. So we're set on that. Let's ensure our parking brake is set. It is. So let's go ahead and go batteries on. Get the alternator switches on as well. Wait for this to come up. And get the engine instruments up over there. Alright, that looks good to go. Full power and full mixture here, and prime. Fuel flow is in the green. Just going to let it sit there for one moment. And then off of prime. Okay, so now we are ready to get the engine started up. So we're going to put our strobe lights on here. Make sure the swarms of people on this little island are clear of our prop, and they look like they are. So we'll go ahead and go boost pump on. Throttle all the way back to idle. Crack it open just slightly. And clear prop. Okay, that's a good engine start. Our oil pressure is up. That's fantastic. Now let's make sure we're right around 1,000 RPMs, what we're looking for. Oil pressure is good. Battery's good. Bus volts are good. And everything else is going to just be coming up slowly as far as the temperatures and everything. So we'll go ahead and get our avionics on now. And we'll leave our boost pump on for the moment while we're on the ground. There's that key to continue. You can see our flight plans already loaded in here. See Cannon, Lilia, and then our VOR, and then Lihu. Since there's not really a whole lot to see here, I mean, just the runway on the ground, we'll go ahead and zoom all the way out. You still can't even see our entire flight plan. We're still quite a ways off. Now then, let's go ahead and get our CDI onto GPS needles there. We'll go PFD bearing 1 onto GPS as well. Get the wind data up onto option 3. Back out of all of that now that we're good. I'll go transponder. We're right on the edge of the runway, so we'll put it on alt mode. Landing lights can go on. We'll go ahead and get our pitot light or pitot heat on as well, just to clear that. We can close out of our flight plan there. Don't need it up on the screen. So we could go takeoff flaps down, parking brake release, and we could start on out here. Does look like we have some wind, basically coming from 080 at 6 knots, which is just fine because we're going to be using runway, I think it's 06 out of here, which is basically what we're parked on the edge of. And yeah, we're just gonna taxi on line up and go ahead and get on our way. Not gonna spend too long on the ground here. I'll just go ahead and line up. And today we're gonna be rotating at 70 knots and trying to climb out around 110 knots. So we're good to go. Ready to put the takeoff power in. Power set, release the brakes. I said we're looking for 70 knots for the rotation. Airspeed is alive. There's 60 knots. There's 70. Rotate. We have a positive rate. The aircraft's going to be pretty heavy with all the fuel and 2 passengers on board. It's basically the max we could take, so don't expect too much performance really out of it. It's pitched down for around 10 degrees. We have a positive rate, the aircraft's accelerating through 250 feet. We'll go ahead and get our flaps in and add a little bit more back pressure just to keep around 10 degrees. Take a look at the new waves kind of out there. It looks quite different than the last time we flew. And a little crazy on the pitch, but we're up through 500 feet. Let's go ahead and start a right turn, get a little bit more direct on course. We don't need to be dilly-dallying out here at all. Nothing to avoid, not a whole lot to see, so we'll get on our way. We're cruising eastbound. So we're going to go for an odd altitude to travel at, and hopefully try and find something that works well with the wind. It does seem to be out of the east from where we are right now, but not a whole lot of cloud cover or anything else to worry about, so we're just going to try and base our cruise off of the wind, like I said. So just hand flying for the moment. I could go ahead and get our nav mode engaged and turn our flight director on if I wanted to, which we're going to go ahead and do there. And then just kind of come down and we could select an altitude. We had better luck, a little bit lower than I planned last time, just with the performance of the aircraft. So we're going to shoot for 9,000 feet. And we can engage the flight level change mode right on 111 knots. Wait for it to kind of come in on the flight director. That way it's not gonna just abruptly take over, or we could just capture the flight director if I really wanted to with the attitude of the aircraft, and then engage the autopilot. Oh, it's a nice smooth transition over to the autopilot, hopefully. It's always going to be aggressive with the capturing of the course for some reason. It basically It's basically taking us 50 degrees off over to the left to capture the GPS course, which is far too aggressive than what it needed to do. I still think the logic is a little bit screwed up there. And see the new colors in the water too. That looks very different than what we were seeing before the big update for the Japan patch. Let's see if we like it more or not. I haven't really played at all since the Japan patch was released, so I guess we'll see how it looks. Definitely adds a little bit more. The waves, I don't know if I like them more or not, to be honest. It'd be cool to see bigger waves with more wind. Flight level change mode's not quite holding 111, but it's kind of doing its job, and we are now captured on the nav mode. So we're climbing up, like I said, 9,000 feet, and we'll see how that works. We might actually go ahead and decide, throw in 11,000, and if we want to, then we can go ahead and come down if the performance was better at 9,000. We can go ahead and get our landing light off now, and our fuel pump just back to off there. Don't need it on boost anymore. I am very ready to actually be able to see some islands whenever I take off, rather than just getting little specks of land out the windows. It'll be good to be in Hawaii here in a few hours. See, took off local basically 1:30. We'll see how much time it takes us to get there. Hopefully, if the wind isn't too bad, we'll get some really good ground speed out of the Cirrus today. It's 5,000 feet for 11,000. Won't make you guys wait through the entire climb, so I'll check back in with you whenever we've leveled off a cruise. Alright everyone, I decided I think we're gonna stay up here at 11,000 feet. The wind really started to shift right around 9,000. Oh, that's still really abrupt. The transition from flight level change to altitude capture. You can see how it just dumped the aircraft down basically. But the wind, started to die down. It had picked up to just around 11 knots, still kind of quartering but on the nose, to now it's actually slightly behind us, ever so slightly, but mostly crosswind, but it's dropped down to just 2 knots, so really no factor. And in all honesty, that's better than any kind of headwind. So we're gonna stay up here. We've gotten some cracks of thunder. I've been able to hear. Whoa, that looked like lightning down there. I don't know. I think I turned away just as it happened. But we're well above it. There's some scattered storms. It looks like they were flying right over. We're going to keep the power in while we're here and see actually if we can pull up on the next rad. It looks like just little pockets, kind of, couple little storms, so nothing too crazy, and it's all clear up at this altitude in front of us, but still interesting seeing the lightning. We're going to go ahead and pull the power back at this point and shoot for whatever kind of airspeed we can get out of it, in all honesty. I'll go ahead and zoom our map all the way back out. Let's shoot for 13 gallons an hour and see about 158 knots ground here. I could get a little bit more out of the aircraft as far as speed, probably down at 9,000. Just really do wish we had a turbocharged engine here and kind of take advantage of these high altitudes a little bit better, but it is what it is. And yeah, I think 160 knots ground isn't going to be too bad. Now that we're in the cruise, we've already dropped our estimated time to our first fix Canon by something like 32 minutes, so really can't complain about that. Now that we are up here in the cruise though, let's go ahead and turn on our boost pump once more, and we're going to switch from our right tank to our left tank. And basically that's going to be my life for the next couple hours, watching these lightning flashes basically in the background. But yeah, not going to be a whole lot to see from here until we hopefully make it to Hawaii. So I'm going to sit back, relax, make sure we don't start running out of fuel in one tank. Make sure I remember to switch them over. And yeah, I'll be back with you guys when we're getting a little bit closer. Time to wake up everybody from the nap. We have Hawaii in the windscreen. Beautiful sight to see. We're just 32.2 miles now from our final point before Lihu. We're still cruising at 11,000 feet. We did pick up a bit of a headwind along the way. Also had to kind of hop over a few little pop-up thunderstorms that were kind of going on beneath us, but making pretty good time along the way, given the headwind and everything. Keeping that in consideration, but basically about ready to start our way into Lihu before too long. Just quickly double check our fuel usage here. We're pretty equal on the left and right, with the right tank still having just a bit more than the left, and we're still burning off the right at the moment. So at this point, let's actually go ahead and tune up Lihu weather information, which is on this frequency here, 127.2, and see what the conditions look like down there.
Lihu Airport information, Quebec 03000. Wind 069er at ONE2. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,100 feet, few clouds at 4,200 feet, few clouds at 12,300 feet. Temperature, 24. 2.10. Altimeter, 29.89er. Visual runway, 2 in use. Landing and departing runway, 2 DSR.
Alrighty, so there was the weather. Go ahead and plug in 29er, 89er in the altimeter. We'll set that, and then set it down here in the standby altimeter as well. The visibility said it was 3 statute miles, I think is what I heard. And didn't really hear the wind too clearly, but we were getting a little bit of static, so we'll double check with the weather once we start getting a little bit closer. But just look at that island. First of all, it's gorgeous, and second of all, it is actually filling our windscreen, which is nice to see. Can't wait to explore more of Hawaii with this aircraft. But it does feel like a pretty big accomplishment just making it all the way here, so. Oh, alright. Time to get ready and planned for our descent. We want to cross our VOR here. I was planning for around 2,000 feet, which 1,000 feet a minute would be 9 minutes out. And we just crossed under that, so I'm going to go ahead and set that up in our altitude bug here. If I stop zooming out and actually adjust it, and we'll go for 2,500 feet instead of 2,000. And now then with that, we can go ahead and pull the power back a little bit in anticipation here and set a vertical speed of minus 1,000 feet. We're going to have to pull the power back even more, keep from overspeeding the aircraft, but we want to keep it basically right at red line here. We're in smooth air, and we can make this trip take a little bit less time, then we should go for it. So Just look at that island. That is really cool looking out there. I did a flight from Lihu a while back now, but the weather was pretty bad, and we were going to the Big Island in the TBM. I didn't really get to see much of the island. That's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to get this aircraft, was to be able to kind of explore these islands a little bit more, take in the sights just from flying over them in the TBM. They all look really good from that altitude. You see a little town down there. It's like maybe a little airstrip right down there on the coast. Absolutely stunning scenery. Definitely a little airstrip down there. Small little runway. Beautiful Hawaiian beach sounds fantastic right now. I'd definitely go for that. Or a nice hike up one of those mountains. Jeez. Definitely a little bit more exciting than Turn Island. Probably a little bit more to do, too. Alright, so we're 6 minutes out, 16 miles from the VOR. Our runways available at Lihu are going to be runway tree, 21, 17, and tree 5. I'm expecting the wind to be out of the east, so runway 0 tree would be the logical choice. We can go ahead and set that up in the heading bug. And it's plenty long. I think it's 6,500 feet. It's more than enough room for the Cirrus. There's a little tiny baby runway down there. Look at that. How much displaced threshold there is there. I believe that's the proper term to call it anyways. Beautiful mountain. I'm trying to remember, I think I said we took off at 1:30 local time, which is now coming up to 1700. So just about 5 p.m. Perfect time to get down on the ground here at Lihu. And go get some food. Looks like that goes all these rivers go like all the way back up. It looks like that one goes back into some kind of like a waterfall back there. With the sun setting and the kind of shadows going across and everything, this is I really hope you guys are enjoying the scenery, because I definitely am. Nice little town down there. It's very different than the kind of scenery we're flying around in New Zealand and Alaska in those respective aircraft. Well, it's not quite Alaska. Well, yeah, Alaska, British Columbia, that kind of area. I'm thinking about picking up a TBM in FSEconomy. You guys have an area you'd like to see that aircraft in, let me know. really is just incredibly beautiful, this game. It's flying right up the coast. Got the ocean out there. We've seen plenty of that along the way. A beautiful island out our left wing. Yeah, the ground's like red there. That's wild. It's definitely got like a red hue to a bunch of the ground down there. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of some places here in Oklahoma. We have really, really like dark red dirt in some areas. It's absolutely miserable if you get it on your car or on your pants or shoes or anything like that. It just stains everything. Somehow I feel like that's not quite the same thing, but I don't think I'd complain about it too much if I got it here in Hawaii. Beautiful little river going up there in the valley, a nice big old lake up there. Beautiful scenery. Alright, let's pay attention to what the plane's doing. Stop looking around so much. We're 2 miles now from the VOR. And from here we're going to basically be turning direct around. It's kind of just... reason I went ahead and planned for the VOR was because it kind of routes us around the mountain here, so I didn't have to worry about clearing it as much. Another nice little town down there. Been to Hawaii once in my life. I really want to go back. I don't remember much of it. I was much younger. I do remember we went to Honolulu and got to see Pearl Harbor. That was really remarkable, I would say. It's surreal, kind of. Double check our fuel tanks here. Right tank is now a little bit lower than the left, so back onto the boost pump. Switch over to the left and back off to the boost pump. We can probably leave it on that for now. 2,500 feet. Looks like it'll clear this nice little mountain we got up in front of us. We're clear of all the terrain. Just letting the autopilot fly because I'm really enjoying looking around. It feels good to be in Hawaii. Let's go ahead and listen to this one more time. See if we can hear what the heck they're saying.
Lisieux Airport Information, Quebec 04000. Wind 071 at LNE2. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,100 feet, few clouds.
You know what, we're not going to listen to that. I don't even know how much I trust that, just based off of what they said the visibility was at. I could see this island, I mean, you can see the island out there, way off in the distance. I could see this island whenever we were still roughly 70 miles out from it, and it's calling for tree-mile visibility. So we'll plan for runway 0 tree, which you can see the threshold of right there. It's kind of blinking away at us. With the direction of the wind currently, we're flying over this beautiful ridgeline before we start taking over the controls and flying the aircraft in. We already double-checked our fuel tank. We're on the fullest tank. We're pretty balanced as well, left to right. Let's see, today we can go ahead and get our, see it, I believe it does say here, in case you're ever curious, we can get 50% flaps out or takeoff approach flaps at 119 knots indicated. We can go full flaps at 104 knots indicated. And our approach speed today, we're going to use full flaps. Our approach speed today is going to be around 85 knots. 85 to 80 knots is what we're going to plan for. So we're going to go ahead and kind of stop going direct towards the airport and fly this ridgeline a little bit. Set ourselves up. So we got a little bit more time to set up for runway 0 tree into Lisieux. can see the other island all the way off there in the distance. Lihu Airport right here. Keep coming down. We got to get down to 119 knots if we want to get our approach flaps in, which will be very beneficial for us to kind of lose more altitude and keep our airspeed under control. So there's 119, and we can go takeoff or approach flaps out. Now we can start to descend, and with all that extra drag, really continue to slow the aircraft as well. So that's what flaps are for. You can see runway 0 tree all the way out there, and we are now slow enough we could actually go ahead and go full flaps if we want. We're quite high, so that's the reason I wanted to slow and get the flaps out. We needed that to kind of clear that ridge line there, though. Have a little bit of a crosswind today. Let's get ourselves lined up and down below 103 knots. We'll go full flaps. Like I said, around 85 to 80 knots, somewhere around there. And keep coming down. It says that we're really high on our or way high up the glide slope into the runway. Doesn't feel like we're that high though. Not to have 4 white anyways. It's a little bit better. Just watching the airspeed, trying to hold around 85 to 80 knots. Getting a little slow. Didn't add power after we started to ease off on our descent in. Not the most stable approach in the world, but we're managing it okay. Just about to come over the threshold on a decent airspeed. So we'll go ahead and reduce the power. And flare. There we go. Don't get too aggressive with the rudder pedal. We have a wide enough runway here. We could kind of let it dance off to the right a little bit. Crosswind landings in this aircraft, with how sensitive the rudder are, very difficult for me. So we're going to clear the runway here off to the right-hand side. We'll clear off over here. And see if we can go park by the shed. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. We've been cast away on Turn Island for so long. I don't want to overwhelm these passengers with new people. And there's already like 4 cars out here. That may be way too much for them. We got a bumpy old taxiway here. Alright, so we'll clear off out in front of this hangar. And we'll go ahead and go through shutting the aircraft down at this point. So parking brake is set, so that logs our flight here in FSEconomy. So in the client now, you can see the flight page is cleared and the information now comes up. Our aircraft is on the ground at Lihu. We made it to Hawaii. Yes, very happy with that. Now we can go through and start getting the aircraft ready for shutdown. So avionics go off, and then very simply mixture out. Should have cleaned the aircraft up first, but go ahead and do it now. Drain the battery a little bit. And we can go strobe off, pitot heat off, alternators off, and battery off. And then the fuel cutoff valve closed there. So that is us on the ground here at Lihue. I hope you all enjoyed the flight. I hope you're looking forward to some exploring of Hawaii. I definitely am. Probably going to be a little bit more motivated to fly this thing a little bit more now that we're finally here. If you did enjoy this, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you want to see some more content. Thank you all so much for the support. It means a ton to me. And yeah, until the next one, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.